What's up, peeps? Nick Battle, aka NinosCorner, man. First off, if you like this content that's coming your way, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. Like, comment on all the videos. Means a ton. Helps me grow the channel, folks. This has been a great journey this year with you guys, man. Representing here on the NinosCorner channel, man. But first off, let's go to our first sponsor, folks. So support for the NinosCorner podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped just launched their fourth generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, folks, the 4.0. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the code NinosCorner at manscaped.com. Again, 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the promo code NinosCorner at manscaped.com. Also, guys, 10% off promo code using NC Peeps at my own clothing store, NinosCornerMerch.com. Man, go check the button down there. Go in the comments, go in the section, click on it, go to the link, get the gear, hoodies, sweats, shorts, the whole nine is there, man. NinosCornerMerch.com, 10% off using the code NC Peeps at NinosCornerMerch.com. But today, folks, we're here to talk about Texas portal targets. All right, so we got 3 guys in the portal right now who Texas is really looking at. So let's just go in talk about these 3 guys. So you got Mario Williams from OU, the stud freshman wide receiver, who's already kind of expressed that he wants to go play with Caleb Williams, who entered the portal, and all signs are tracking that Caleb Williams is more than likely going to be going to USC. So if that's the case, does Mario Williams follow him to USC, or does he come to Texas? He's from Florida, so it doesn't matter like which state he goes to. He's already far away from home. But Texas does have the opportunity. They got the open depth chart. He got to see exactly what a guy like Worthy was able to do in last year's offense. So that is a possibility. And also per 247 Sports on 3 Inside Texas, and also Orange Bloods. Looks like he was in Texas just a couple days ago at a Texas versus OU basketball game as a guest. So, hey, anything can happen in this age of the portal, in this age in the world of transfers and one-time transfers and NIL deals. Never say never to anything when it comes to these Texas portal guys, these transfer portal targets. Never say never. Do I see it happen? Who knows? But we did get a cryptic tweet from new wide receiver coach Marion, Brendan Marion, about the Texas baseball team. And it's kind of cryptic because Williams has gone online and basically said that he wants to go to a school, or when he came out of high school, he wanted to go to a school where he could play football and baseball. And who has the top baseball team in the country this year? And it's none other than Texas Longhorns. So to see that text come out from Marion was kind of cryptic, but we shall see. And I'll post it up here in the video so you guys can see the tweet that I'm talking about. But when we're talking about other guys and things that Texas could definitely use here on their team right now, I think positions that Texas didn't do the best job of trying to get in the 2022 cycle. Linebacker, we got a great prospect in Travell Johnson, but that's pretty much our only linebacker prospect. The other guys that are playing the edge positions, I kind of look at Derek Brown as an edge guy who can probably put his hand down in the dirt as well, but drop down somewhat. But he's more of a guy that's going to rush the passer. All right. But just a true linebacker, sideline to sideline linebacker with speed that can do what he needs to do on the field. That is Travell Johnson. I mean, that's all we got in this cycle for a linebacker in the 2022 cycle for the commitments here at Texas. But there's an interesting linebacker who just came into the portal by the name of Drew Sanders. Drew Sanders was a former 5-star recruit out of Denton, Texas. Ended up going to Alabama, but sitting behind guys like, Will Anderson and Larry Turner. I mean, these guys are straight monsters. So to have 5-star talent stacked in front of you, or high 4-star talent stacked in front of you, and there's like no real option for you to see the field immediately and get the impact, you put your name in the portal and you see what you can do. So Drew Turner. Not Drew Turner, Drew Sanders, Drew Turner. Drew Turner's a friend of mine that I worked with, actually. What's up, Drew? But Drew Sanders definitely is a guy who can step in on campus at 6'5", 245 pounds and be an immediate impact player here at Texas at a position of need. And we all understand that the linebacker position is a position of need. We got Overshawn. Overshawn is going to be back. We got Jalen Ford. We got Benda. We got Mo Blackwell. As well. But we need somebody that can be that outside linebacker to come off the edge a little bit. A guy that can run sideline. A guy that can run sideline to sideline as well. And that is Drew Sanders, man. He is a guy that can come in and be a day one starter here at Texas. And that is something that we need at the linebacker position. Other help that we need on the defense is on the defensive line. And that is where we have a guy, Ochaun Mathis from TCU, former all Big 12 performer. I think 8 or 9 sacks just 2 years ago, 12 and a half tackles for loss, I think, in that season as well. And he's a prime example of a guy in which Gary Patterson can have as a ball of clay and form into an NFL draftable guy that is going to get drafted here in the league. But he has one more year, I think. And Gary Patterson, with all the rumors of Gary Patterson possibly joining the staff here at Texas, all signs are pointing that Mathis has the opportunity to definitely come here to Texas, and he'll be an immediate impact player. One thing that we missed were edge rushers. And I think Texas hurt a ton last year when Jacoby Jones went out, because he was the guy who could definitely help against the run, but also was one of our best pass rushers. Now, we got some really good pass rush out of was Ovia Gofu. Some really good pass rush out of him, but we just need consistency at that position. You put in a plug-and-play player like Mathis, who has shown that he can do great things in this conference at the defensive end position, at that edge, and you got a guy who can also be a day one starter. And so when you have a guy like Mathis who can come in on one side, rush the passer, you bring in a guy like Drew Sanders who can come in and be that the weak side linebacker here at Texas, and you pair him with Overshawn. Like I say, Mathis on the defensive line. Couple that with some beef that we got here from the 2022 cycle, as well as guys who are already here on campus. You got Coburn, you got Sweat, you got Alfred Collins, you got Vernon Broughton, you got Myron Warren. You got those guys here already here. Gorham Welch is also one of those guys. But you also have a great defensive line haul here for Texas in the 2022 cycle. But if you bring in a guy like Mathis, you might not have to play those true freshmen as early as might be necessary if a guy like Mathis doesn't come. So we got the Finkleys who are coming here, who I think is going to be a beast. We have the Taps that is coming in here. Jamon Taps is a guy who I'm very excited about. He's a Louisiana kid. You guys know I'm from Louisiana. I'm from the boot. I'm from Shreveport. And so I'm excited about him. You got the Aaron Bryants. You got the Chris Rosses. You got the Zach Swansons, like I said, the Derek Browns earlier, the Jeray Bledsoes. We had a hell of a haul along the defensive line. And if you're bringing a guy like Mathis, I think what that does is it doesn't let you put those guys out there when they're a little too young for multiple snaps, for too many snaps. You bring a guy like Mathis in, he can man that position, take 60 to 70% of the snaps on the game-by-game basis, and then you can sprinkle in some Jamon Tab. You can sprinkle in some Finkley. You can do that. And I think that will be a perfect solution, a perfect combination for Texas here for that defensive line. So I would love to have Mathis here on campus. I would love to have his former coach also, Gary Patterson. And let's talk about Gary Patterson. So job opening comes up at Texas. Assistant to the head coach, special assistant to the head coach, something of that nature. But it looks like a job that is, no kidding, written up, wrote up, gift wrapped for Gary Patterson to come here and be somebody on the staff here at Texas. I think this is a great move for Texas, because we all know Gary Patterson is one of the best coaches in this conference over the past 10, 15 years, if not longer. He did great things at TCU when they were in the Mountain West Conference. Has done great things at TCU since they've been in the Big 12. Gary Patterson is one of those guys who takes talent, 2 stars, 3 stars, and makes them draftable players. And that's one thing that you got to love about Gary Patterson. But if you bring him here to Texas, what he can give you is that 30,000 foot level, from a head coaching perspective, to look at the defense, to look at the offense, get on Sark and say, hey, this is where you're weak at. This is where we try to exploit you guys. You guys, did X, Y, and Z here. kind of swapped it up and do that, that'll confuse people a little bit more, So it gives them a bird's eye view, but it's also a very smart move from Steve Sarkisian in the fact that, let's be honest, the defense last year was one of the worst defenses that we ever fielded here at Texas. And I'm not going to put all that on Coach PK and his staff, but somebody has to be held accountable. Yes, the players have to be held accountable as well. But if this goes on for a second season, the defense does not perform to the heights that we want them to perform to, then this gives you a permanent out right now, because you have one of the best defensive minds in college football in Gary Patterson, who can step down and be that defensive coordinator as well. So this is a great move. This is a chess move, but you also got to look at it too, in the fact that it's not about even at that opportunity to possibly even get rid of Coach PK. I don't think you need to do that. Coach PK, if you look at his previous situations at Washington, one of the most unselfish coaches that you ever seen. So you have a guy like him, you have Jimmy Lake. They're both on the same staff. Jimmy Lake the defensive backs, and PK did the rest of the defense. And those guys coexisted and fielded some great defenses at Washington. So Coach PK stays at Washington while Lake gets the promotion to become the head coach, and he still manages the defense, but Lake still has a lot of input into that defense as well. So the point that I'm getting at here is that Coach PK is not a selfish coach. He's a guy that wants to win, and he's getting paid very well to win down here at Texas. But if things come to the point to where Gary Patterson has to step in, I don't see there being a problem where Coach PK goes, let's do this co-defensive thing, where you're a co-DC, I'm a co-DC, and let's make this thing work. So it's going to be very interesting to see how everything unfolds here at Texas with Gary Patterson, with the transfer portal guys and Drew Sanders, Mario Williams, and also Ochaun Mathis. If I had to put a pick on this, I would probably say Texas lands Sanders, Texas lands Mathis, and I think that'd be a great haul from the portal, because it shores up two positions of need here on the defense that Texas is in desperate need of, and that's a definite pass rusher and a definite linebacker to go right next to Ochaun, so that you can have a great front seven with the defensive linemen and also our linebackers as well. Some key positions that are probably not going to be addressed here in the portal, or positions that haven't been talked about in the portal yet, have been offensive linemen. And why is that? Maybe because Texas just hauled in 6 offensive linemen and possibly 7 if Devin Campbell decides to hop on the bandwagon here and come to Texas per the second National Signing Day. Texas bringing in those 6 offensive linemen: Kelvin Banks Jr., Agbo, Nito, Connor Robinson, Cole Hudson, and I'm missing one, guys. Cam Williams, big Cam Williams from Duncanville. That's one guy you can't miss, man. That dude is huge. But Texas bringing in a huge offensive line haul kind of helps ease the pain there. But you guys saw my stance on playing true freshmen on on the line. I think you can get away with that with 1 or 2 guys, but you can't feel more than that. So guess what? Cal Flood must feel comfortable with what he has in that room. And as we saw towards the end of the season last year, that offensive line did gel pretty well together. So I think it's just a matter of continuity, getting players in the right position, to play. Just the continuity and the bond with the brothers, side to side. But definitely, I do see 1 or 2 freshmen actually starting on this line. I can definitely see a guy like Kelvin Banks Jr. stepping on here on campus and probably being one of the best tackles here on the team from day one. I can definitely see a guy like Campbell coming in and doing some great things here at Texas too, if he does commit to us, for the second National Signing Day. But guys that you don't want to sleep on, and we talked about this on a live chat last week. You don't want to sleep on a guy like Hayden Conner. Hayden Conner showed he has some nastiness in him too, and he's a guy who can come in and in his second year, in his true sophomore year, be able to come in and get some great snaps for us too here at Texas. So it's going to be a great season here, a great off season. Can't wait to see if Sanders actually comes in and comes to this team, and the same thing with Mathis. I would hope that those two would come to this team. The next one would be Williams at the wide receiver position. I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it does, man, that's just a cherry on top, man. So on that note, guys, man, subscribe, like, tune in, listen to the videos, man. Comment, means a lot, folks. Love you guys, man. But on that note, man, I got to end this by saying, do you, like I do all my videos, man. Do you, man. Don't be afraid to fail. Outgrow your environment. Understand your brilliance. Nino's Corner. I'm out. Hook 'em. Horns up all day long.